Hi, welcome at the Orange Talks. My name is Peggy and I'm here in the studio again with Karin. Karin.
Hey, I already feel at home here in the studio, Peggy.
Well, me too, Karin. And guess what? We're going to talk again about the COP30 and beyond because this is the COP Connected, right?
Everybody who wants to stay tuned to what's going on among Dutch companies in Brazil related to sustainability and COP30 can listen to our podcast.
Exactly. And guess what, Karen? We have a really interesting guest today. Again, one of the top Dutch companies that we invited for us for our debate here in the studio. I think you like traveling, right?
I love traveling.
Well, then you're really on the good spot as well, because we have here with us somebody who is working for more than 23 years in the group of KLM Air France. He has been now for 4 years leading here the operations in LATAM. General Manager for Air France-KLM here in LATAM. I'm welcoming Manuel Flahault. Hi,
Many
Manuel.
thanks for inviting me. Very happy to be here.
Well, I discovered that KLM is the oldest airline company still flying under its original name of the Royal Airlines company.
Yes, and to be true, we are very happy and proud indeed to be the oldest company still using his original name. So it's a very old but also young company.
Yeah. Well, we're not talking about you, obviously, at all. We're all very young, the team here as well. Manuel, welcome to have you in our studio. I think that just to put it immediately on the table, there is a lot of things going on of getting people to the COP30 while we talk about the COP30. I suppose that you have some headaches as well to bring people to Belém.
Yeah, to be honest, it's not easy, but still, we have been working a lot with our local partner Goal, to try to bring people and to connect via our hubs in São Paulo and Rio to go to Belém. We also have some offer with Air France. Air France has a flight. Many people don't know, but going from Belém to Cayenne in the Guyana Francesa, and then connected to the flight in Paris. We increase the capacity. We have 2 flights a week during the COP, also to better connect Belém with Europe.
Oh, amazing. So we will get there at Belém if we want to, thanks to Air France-KLM. Now, just talking a bit later on the COP13 specifically, but can I be honest, Manuel, because I think that if we talk about the aviation business, we very often hear criticism that in terms of sustainability, it's not the best sector to be in. However, I think that we can say that the group Air France-KLM is doing tremendous jobs in getting us there in a more greener and sustainable way. Why is this so important for the group KLM Air France to drive, to be the front runner of these sustainability aviation world, let's say?
No, yes. I think it's important to put things into perspective. If we look at 2024, the aviation industry as a whole contributed to approximately 2.5% of the global CO2 emissions, which is significant. And you're right to say that Air France-KLM, and especially KLM, has been a pioneer in addressing this challenge. KLM was the first airline to operate commercial flights, incorporating SAF, what we call SAF, Sustainable Aviation Fuel. We also call it Alternative Aviation Fuel. And it's a more sustainable fuel, not based on oil, on oil kerosene. This time it was, I think, in a flight back in 2011. I think it was a 737-800 flying from Amsterdam to Paris with 170 passengers. And indeed, it was a blend of 50%, 50% conventional jet fuel and 50% oil. Derived from used cooking oil. And so KLM was the first to do that. It was a long journey since then, but because I think we also want, as a group, to be part of this journey to decarbonize our industry.
Yeah, to drive really the future indeed, to decarbonize.
I think it would be interesting, Peggy, if Manuel explained a little bit who is listening to us, what is sustainable aviation fuel or alternative aviation fuel? What is it made of? And I'm sure it's a bit complicated and complex and challenging to produce this kind of fuel still today. What can you tell us about the advances and the challenges that are still going on?
And to be clear, when we talk about our decarbonization journey, there are two main levels, among others. One is the fleet renewal, and the second, indeed, is the use of sustainable aviation fuel. And basically, it's a low carbon alternative to the oil-based kerosene. It's used generally for sustainable resources. Could be, I mentioned, cooking oils, but also from agriculture feed. But in this case, we try to secure sources that will not compete with food chain. We also have within Air France-KLM some strict criteria to avoid also using palm oil or products that will be a risk for the deforestation. And as a whole, when you look at this product, they could really save by more than 65% the CO2 emissions compared to as I mentioned, our oil traditional
kerosene, let's say.
And what is very interesting is that it's drop-in. Drop-in, what does that mean? Is that we don't need to change anything with the aircraft, with the engine. We can only put as is on our aircraft, so it makes it very easy to incorporate within our engines.
Where are we in the production range? Are we close to producing a lot of SAF commercially? Are we still in the part of research and development? How advanced is the world in producing this?
It's a very good question, because indeed, I think in 2023, Air France-KLM bought 80,000 tons of SAF. And it was more or less 1% of the total fuel consumption we had that year. But with this 80,000, we represented 16% of the total use of SAF that year for all airlines. So we are the leader, but we can also see that I think the following year, the production in 2023, the production was around 500,000 tons produced. In 2024, it was a double, 1 million. But this is only 0.3% of the total need.
Is that the bottleneck, Manuel? The production, that we don't have the capacity of producing more SAF?
Yeah, I think it's a new feed, and we still have to initiate a little bit the program. And indeed, today there is not enough capabilities. And that's why it's very important also to motivate and to incentivize development of these capabilities. And this is worldwide. And in the US, you have some capabilities. In Europe, it's starting. But if you look at Brazil, we don't expect these capabilities to be on a commercial base before 2027. So indeed, we have to develop the chain, and it's key for us, because also the fact that there is low offer versus the demand makes the price very expensive for us.
Exactly. Well, and still you're a little bit in a pioneer's position. It's step by step. But besides this, I think that KLM Karen is also taking a lot of other steps to help of decarbonization. You already mentioned it, switching the fleet. I think you have a very aggressive strategy on fleet modernization. If I'm not mistaken, in 2030, you would like to switch to 80% of a new fleet with new modern planes. Also reducing the carbon emission. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is totally at the core of our strategy. Why is it so important to invest in your fleet? And I think Air France-KLM is investing today around 2 billion euros a year in purchasing, in acquiring new aircrafts. And this is key because when you look at the aircraft of the new generation, for example, to Brazil, we fly with the Airbus A350 or the Boeing Dreamliner, the 787. These aircraft issue 25% less CO2 than the aircraft of the previous generation that we were using before. They also are more silent. I think it's 40% less noise with those aircraft versus the previous aircraft. So it's key to renew the fleet. And indeed, so we are purchasing new aircraft every year. You are right to say 80%. Is the target for 2030?
Yeah. 5 years.
Yeah, it's a lot because we had only 10% in 2021. So you can really see that it's a very strong commitment, an expensive but strong commitment.
And then what I thought was very interesting as well, the pilots, they need to drive, I would say, but they're flying over
They
obviously
fly.
in a different way. You even have some eco-piloting projects.
Yeah.
What can a pilot make a difference in flying?
No, but
Using
it can be significant. So I mentioned that indeed the two main levers are the usage of SAF or the renewal of the fleet. But the third one indeed is operational measures. And with all these measures, that could be indeed implementing like continuous descent. Could be also optimizing trajectory. It can also be on the ground, by the way. You can now taxi when you're at the airport using just one engine. And all in all, maybe also adding some measures we're taking with the fleet itself, with the aircraft, trying to lighten a little bit the material we are using to modify the cabins. All in all, we expect from 4 to 5% less CO2 emissions with these measures. So it can be significant.
Oh, this is very interesting, and it shows the importance of training people towards a low carbon economy. What about the travelers, Manuel? What is KLM doing to incentive or what programs or initiatives can travelers take in lowering carbon emissions while traveling with KLM?
Yeah, but I agree on the fact that I'm convinced that it's very important to understand that it's a lot of sustainability is a lot about awareness, and it's a collective approach. So we at KLM decided also to give the possibility to our travelers to contribute themselves. So now when they buy they book a ticket on Air France and KLM, they can choose to contribute to do a contribution. There are three levels. There's three levels depending also on the SAF use per passenger, depending on the distance, and also the market price of the SAF at the moment of the booking. And to contribute to this effort of Air France and KLM to decarbonize and to further use SAF. That doesn't mean that the SAF will be put in the aircraft that will take. This amount will be used for the broader purchase of SAF that KLM will put in the entire network.
How sensitive are, for example, travelers here and mainly in Brazil, because we're in Brazil, how sensitive are they to be more greener travelers, let's say?
I think it's growing. The awareness is growing, the sensitivity too, but it takes time. Also, we can see that in Europe, maybe these concerns happen a little bit earlier, and it took time also to spread within the clients, and also in Brazil. But I think it's starting. We can see a lot of initiatives, and we're very happy that also to see that some Brazilian players are really investing more and more in the decarbonization. Also, our partners Gold, for example. So I think it's coming.
It's a movement, and for sure, Karen, they don't have to travel less; they just have to travel better, and travel well, as the slogan is of KLM. So I would say go and all visit Amsterdam, which is an amazing spot, and do that, of course, by KLM because they drive sustainability. Hey, let us come back to the COP30. Manuel, how do you look at that event in Belém? It's going to be a very huge event. Well, of course, probably a little bit less huge because of all the technical issues that we have there. But it is supposed to be the COP of the action. How do you look at this COP?
No, I think for us it's a fantastic opportunity because, as I was saying, as an airline, we depend a lot on others. We depend on aircraft manufacturers to bring the technology to have tomorrow engines more efficient with less combustion. We also need providers, and especially, as I said, SAF providers to put more offer on the market to lower the prices and increase capabilities. And at the end, the COP will be an opportunity also to align a little bit between public and private stakeholders to raise awareness on the topic, and a platform also to try to bring together these investors to increase the production. And so for us, it's very important, and especially in a country like Brazil, because when we look at Brazil with his very rich and sustainable energy matrix, I think it's a fantastic opportunity here to also to scale up. In Brazil, there is a law that was voted that is bringing a mandate, meaning that all airlines flying in Brazil will have to incorporate 1% of SAF as from 2027. It will increase 1 point every year until 10% in 2037. But for this to happen in a sustainable way, we need also the offer and the production chain to be available on the market. I think it will be very nice to accelerate a little bit this momentum.
Because this is not only for KLM, I suppose that this is for all air aviation companies, I need so. Okay. So it's probably a bit more about finding the partnerships, connecting with others to accelerate a little bit the speed of the sustainability actions.
Indeed, is to facilitate all the discussions to on the ecosystem working around aviation and around also the production of oil. To yes, I think to build together a more decarbonized future for the aviation.
And how do you see the role of Brazil and Latin America in this movement, in this ecosystem? Mainly as a producer of SAF or producer of SAF and other activities and other main goals, or how can we play it better here from South America?
I think Brazil has many assets. First, they have an aircraft manufacturer, amazing, which is Embraer. So those are part of the suppliers in terms of aircraft.
Which is a key partner as well of KLM.
Yeah,
right?
indeed. Now, KLM is the biggest user of Embraer worldwide, and we are very happy. But also, as I mentioned, when you look at the history of Brazil, also with bioethanol, and so they have all the land and also the know-how, how to be a pioneer also in SAF production, and I would even say also in exporting SAF. I think looking at the potential of Brazil, they could also export a lot of SAF also to Europe, for example. And so they have this mix of expertise, low carbon energy mix, and also the fact that they are directly concerned with a very good and one of the leaders in terms of aircraft manufacturers.
Yeah, I think a lot of opportunities we see, right? 4 years you have been here in the country.
Yes.
I think there are still a lot of opportunities also for other Dutch companies, for innovation, Dutch innovation, technology. Where do you see a little bit the obstacles, Manuel? What could prevent companies of making it happen here in Brazil?
Yes. If you look at more our sector, I think indeed it's a fantastic country in terms of opportunities, and especially for the future. Also in what's happening today in the world, I think there is a lot of opportunities happening also for Brazil and to reposition herself in the geopolitical context. So in terms of demand and project potential for the future, I think we don't have so many countries like this. On the other hand, indeed, doing business in Brazil is not always easy, and this is very true for our sector. Also with all the safety constraints, and also we can see sometimes that the judicialization, which is happening in Brazil, could also be an obstacle. Also, for example, to have tomorrow a low cost entering these markets. I think why we don't have a low cost, maybe because also it's difficult to do business, and you have a lot of constraints, and especially in terms of legal consumer cases and judicialization.
But the standards are very high as well, I think, as well in Brazil. I mean, it's probably that is also why it's preventing of low cost airlines coming into the country. I mean, I think we can also say that.
Yeah, it's true that
high standard.
with the three Brazilian airlines, LATAM, Gol, and Azul, when you look at their operational performance, they're really among the best in the world. So
Right.
it doesn't make easy a new entrant to arrive.
Exactly. I think that often Brazil is criticized for a lot of things, but I think it's also a little bit our job to say the positive things about what's happening in Brazil, right?
Fully agree.
What is your ultimate expectation after the COP? Is there something that you have on your bucket list that you say, hey, as a French guy here in Brazil, I hope this or this is going to happen in Belém there?
In Belém, yeah, it would be very nice someday to fly directly to Belém, and I'm not sure it's for now. I think we also need some extra infrastructure, but we opened a new destination last year, France in Salvador. We are aiming at growing more. Would be very happy that KLM also opens. KLM used to fly to Fortaleza, now it's only Rio de Janeiro and Sao Paulo, but I would be very happy to open a new destinations in the Northeast, especially. For that, we need a lot of conditions to be met. But for me, yeah, that it will be to continue to grow in this fantastic market.
Okay, well,
Let's hope COP30 brings a bit of this opportunity. Eyes in Brazil, however it is, but that more people can come and know the northeast and the north of the country.
Exactly. And that
which is amazing.
which is indeed amazing. I can confirm. So I think that we should have very soon, again, KLM flying directly on Fortaleza. I thought it was a very good thing. So let's push a little bit also the Dutch and other Europeans, right, to fly with KLM over Amsterdam to Fortaleza maybe in the future. But anyway, they can already fly to Sao Paulo and to Rio.
And connect
Every day.
Every day, indeed.
Every day.
And then even in November, December, KLM is adding 2 more flights to Sao Paulo. So we have 9 flights a week. So very happy also to bring these new possibilities for to connect indeed Brazil with Amsterdam.
With this a little bit extra of propaganda, as they say, with a bit of publicity. But thank you very much, Manuel, for being in our studio today.
No, my pleasure.
And for being here at the Orange Talks. And I think we are going to continue, right, Karen?
Absolutely. More important news, very valuable information, Manuel. Thank you so much.
No, thank you to you.
And thank you too for being with us today at the Orange Talks. I would say if you want to have more news on the COP coming up in Belém, then you just stay connected with Dutchem, and we see you for next edition of COP Connected. See you soon. Ciao.